Alright, so let's talk about this Adri Ayton buzz that keeps circling around the Lakers. Everywhere you look lately, from headlines to fan forums, his name is being floated like it's the obvious next move for Los Angeles. But here's the thing, there haven't been any solid reports saying the Lakers are actually negotiating or sitting down with the Trail Blazers about a deal. What we've seen so far is more like people speculating, fans dreaming, and analysts suggesting what the Lakers should do. No confirmation. No real leaks saying the Lakers front office has picked up the phone and called Portland directly. For Ayton, it's all just what-if scenarios at this point. Now, let's be fair. Ayton has always been one of those players who makes you stop and think, man, if he just clicked, he could be elite. Like genuinely one of the top-tier centers in the league, he's still got that upside. That mix of size, skill, and athleticism that's rare. He can score around the basket, knock down jumpers, he's got a solid mid-range game, he can rebound, and he's mobile enough to hold his own on defense. There's no denying that when Ayton is locked in, he's capable of putting up 18 to 20 points with double-digit rebounds without even needing plays run for him. But that's the thing, he's not always locked in, and that's the real conversation. People question his motor, they wonder about his passion, his desire to dominate, or even just stay engaged consistently, and those concerns didn't come out of nowhere. Back when he was with the Suns, there were well-documented issues, tense moments with coaches, friction with Monty Williams, and that infamous incident where he straight up refused to check into a game. That kind of stuff sticks. It paints a picture of a talented player who might not always be the easiest guy to work with. But to his credit, he's kept things quieter since going to Portland. There hasn't been the same kind of drama, the same noise surrounding his effort or attitude. Maybe the change of scenery helped, maybe he's maturing. Either way, it's worth noting, he's still young, 26 now, turning 27 soon, which means there's still time for him to find the right environment, the right system, and the right leadership to elevate his game and keep his head in the right place. And if there's any place that could unlock the best version of Adri Ayton, it might just be Los Angeles. Think about it, a team with a culture built around veterans like LeBron James, with Anthony Davis still in the mix, and a front office clearly looking for that next piece to make another title run. You drop Ayton into a situation like that where he wouldn't have to be the guy, but just an important part of a bigger picture. It could work. It could actually be the perfect environment for him to thrive, because again, there's no denying the talent. This is a guy who's had seasons averaging over 16 points and 10 rebounds a night. He's shown flashes of being a guy who can step up in big moments. Remember that finals run with the Suns. He wasn't just along for the ride. He was a legitimate contributor. He's not a defensive anchor in the mold of someone like Rudy Gobert. But he's not a liability either. He can block shots, move his feet reasonably well, and at the very least, not get played off the floor in crucial playoff moments. What makes this conversation even more interesting is his contract situation. Ayton is on an expiring deal. That means if you're the Lakers and you bring him in, you're not locked into some massive long-term commitment. You have flexibility. If it works out, great. Maybe you sign him to a more team-friendly deal and you've got your center spot locked down for the next few years. If it doesn't work out, let him walk. Move on. No harm done. That's what makes him such a classic low-risk, high-reward player right now. But obviously, price matters. The whole thing hinges on what you'd have to give up to get him. You can't go and throw in a ton of valuable young talent, picks, or assets just to bring in someone who hasn't proven he can stay consistent or healthy. Because let's not ignore that part of the conversation. Availability is huge, and Ayton, for all his physical gifts, hasn't been the most reliable when it comes to staying on the court. The most games he's ever played in a season was 71, and that was way back in his rookie year. Last year, he only played 40. That's a red flag. If you're the Lakers, you've got to factor that in when deciding how much you're willing to give up. So what would it take to actually make a deal happen? That's where things get tricky. You're not going to include your most promising young talent and first-round picks for someone with this many question marks. Maybe you offer up someone like Jared Vanderbilt, maybe some salary filler, maybe a protected pick, but that's about as far as it should go. You can't mortgage the future for a gamble like this, even if the potential payoff is huge. Because again, there's no guarantee. For every highlight reel play Ayton makes, there's a moment where he disappears for long stretches. You can't afford to give up the world hoping he figures it out just because he's wearing purple. And gold now. On the flip side, Portland is in a weird position too. They're clearly rebuilding. And they've got other bigs on the roster. They're not going to want to re-sign Ayton to another big deal, especially when his value is unclear. So they might be more open than people think to letting him go for the right package. Not necessarily a blockbuster return, but something they can justify to their fans and still maintain flexibility. Because really, what are they going to do? Let him walk for nothing? That wouldn't make sense either. So if you're the Lakers, you're sitting in a sweet spot. You've got the leverage, you're not desperate, you don't need Ayton, but if the price is right, why not? It's a swing worth taking. Especially when you consider the kind of lineup versatility he brings. Slot him next to LeBron and Davis and suddenly you've got a three-headed front court monster that can score, rebound, and defend at a high level. That's a scary sight for any team in the West. Now if we dive deeper into his numbers from last season, it's a mixed bag. Ayton played in 40 games, all starts, averaging a bit over 30 minutes per night. His scoring was down, sitting at just over 14 points per game, which ties for the lowest of his career. That's definitely something to keep in mind. But the context matters. Portland wasn't exactly a team set up to help him thrive. And the direction of that roster wasn't built to maximize Ayton's strengths. He shot nearly 57% from the field overall, which is still solid efficiency. Most of his offense came from inside the arc, but interestingly, he took more threes last year than ever before. Not a lot, but enough to show he's at least toying with expanding his range. He hit less than 20% from beyond the arc though, so yeah, there's work to do, but the mid-range is where he's comfortable. Elbow jumpers, short rolls, those soft touch shots in the paint, that's his bread and butter. Free throw shooting was rough though, just under 67% last year, which is way below his career average. It's weird, because the year before that, he shot over 82%, so maybe it was an off year. Maybe it was a confidence thing. Either way, it's another data point to consider. Rebounding-wise, he averaged just over 10 boards a game. Consistent with what we've come to expect from him, he added a block, a steal, and a little over an assist per game, so he's not a complete zero in terms of playmaking or defensive impact. He's never going to be a Jokic or an Embiid. But that's not what the Lakers would need from him. They'd need effort, physicality, and a bit of polish around the rim, and if he brings that, he could be a real asset. All of this brings us back to that central question. Is it worth it? Is Ayton worth the roll of the dice? In a vacuum, probably. Yes, if the deal is team-friendly, if you're not giving up major assets, if you're not expecting him to carry the team, then yeah, why not go for it? You get a player who still has room to grow, who has shown he can play at a high level, and who might just need the right system and support to get back on track. But the Lakers have to be smart. They've been burned before by taking on talented players with question marks, hoping the culture will fix everything. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it blows up in your face. With Ayton, it's all about balance. Keep the expectations in check, manage the risk, and if you can strike the right deal, you might walk away looking like geniuses, because if he does find his form again, if he turns into that 20 and 10 machine on a nightly basis under the bright lights of LA, then suddenly, this move goes from a gamble to a masterstroke. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on. It's the kind of whisper that sends shockwaves through the NBA. A rumor so monumental it could redefine the league's landscape for years to come. Sources close to the situation, speaking on condition of anonymity, suggest a seismic shift is brewing. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the undisputed face of the Milwaukee Bucks and a two-time MVP, could be on his way to the Los Angeles Lakers. The notion itself feels almost sacrilegious to Bucks fans. But the NBA is a league driven by ambition and opportunity. While Antetokounmpo has consistently expressed loyalty to Milwaukee, the allure of Hollywood, a global brand like the Lakers, and the chance to team up with established superstars for a legitimate dynasty run could be a temptation to great to resist. Speculation is rife about how such a move could even materialize. Would it involve a complex multi-team trade? Or is there a scenario where the Greek freak decides to test the waters of free agency down the line? The Lakers, always aggressive in their pursuit of top-tier talent, would undoubtedly be preparing a blockbuster package, likely including promising young players and a trove of draft picks. To entice Milwaukee, for the Lakers, adding Antetokounmpo would instantly vault them into an unprecedented tier of championship contention. Imagine the defensive versatility, the unstoppable offensive force, and the sheer star power of Antetokounmpo alongside their current core. It's a lineup that would strike fear into the hearts of every other team in the league. Of course, these are merely murmurs in the highly speculative world of NBA rumors, but where there's smoke, there's often fire. And the idea of Giannis in purple and gold is a blaze that's rapidly gaining intensity. The next few months, or even years, could prove to be some of the most dramatic in recent NBA history. As this potential blockbuster scenario unfolds, stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news, subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.